Hey there! Week 10! 1 week left. Thank you for being here with me. And I'm not going to even say that this week is important or that I love this week because this is like the week. This is the point of the entire self-love series. And this week is on love and oneness. And the reason that this week is so important is because one of the most important and profound lessons I have learned on my spiritual journey is that we can only love others to the extent that we love ourselves. And that is why I am so passionate about self-love, okay? The more that we can love and accept and forgive ourselves, the more that we can extend that to others. So this week, I'm gonna talk about how we are all the same, and then how we are, oh my goodness, so different. I'm gonna talk about judgment and choice, okay? Then I'm gonna talk about forgiveness, which is super important. And then finally, leaving a legacy of love, okay? So first and foremost, we are all the same. Now, if you are on this spiritual path, which I imagine if you're watching this video that you are, you must have some connection to a soul within yourself. An idea that we are all spiritual beings living in a human form. So knowing that that is true, we are all cut from the same cloth. Our soul, the essence of who we are, is love and spirit. So at the core, we all have that beautiful, pure soul, right? So we are all the same, and we are all a part of the bigger divine energy and force of the universe, whether that's God or divine power or love, whatever you call it. We are all the same, and at the very core of who we are love, right? And we just have this human experience that sort of veils it and clouds it. But if we can always come back to the fact that we are all the same, we are all spirit, we are love, we are truth, if we can remember that, it can change everything for us. So that is like foundational for love and connection, is we are all the same, just having a human experience. Okay, so it looks different, but deep down inside we're the same. So that's first. Then it brings me to my next point, which is we are so different. Now, another lesson that I've learned that has changed my world is that we have no idea what it's like to be another person. None. We don't know what their life has been like, how they see the world, what experiences they've had, what their childhood was like, what they're currently going through. We will never have any idea what it's like to live in another person's body. Okay, that is so important. Now, it's so easy to separate ourselves from someone because they're different, or because we don't understand their behavior, because they act differently, because they see the world differently. It's so easy to separate ourselves, which again is disconnecting from the very core fact that we're all the same, just having a different human experience. So I don't know if you've ever had an experience where someone's maybe mean to you or super rude and it kind of aggravates you, and then you find out later that maybe they had a really awful day, or someone had passed away, or something really bad happened to them earlier. And then you kind of feel like, kind of feel badly that you judged them. So that's the idea of all of life, is we have no idea what it's like to be another person. And so remembering that while we are the same at the core, we all had different lives. We are living in different worlds. And so it's not our job to decide what's right and wrong or good and bad. It's our job to just be open to the human experience and always look to others with love and that feeling of oneness and connection from that spiritual place. So remember, we are all the same. We are oh so different. And then this brings me to the next topic, which is judgment and choice. Now, it is so human and so natural to judge others because we know what it's like to be us, we know how we see the world, and when someone shows up differently or makes different choices, we have this kind of natural response to want to judge them. Totally natural, totally okay, but it's what we do with that that's super important. And there is one tool that I have learned that has changed my world. It has probably been one of the most humbling and greatest opportunities for growth, is when we judge another person, it is telling us something about ourselves. Now, there's a really simple kind of phrase that we can use called just like me. So anytime that we place judgment on another person, just like me, it's showing us something within ourselves that we're either denying, avoiding, judging. So that's the idea of self-love, is the more fully we can love and accept ourselves as the imperfect humans that we are, we're going to be able to fully and love and accept others. So when we don't, it's something within ourselves that we are judging, avoiding, denying, whatever it is. It's teaching us where we have yet to grow and learn about ourselves. So anytime we judge someone, red flag, what do I need to learn about myself, right? So judgment can be a beautiful tool. It's natural and it can be a beautiful tool to deepen our self-love and acceptance. So I just want to give you an example. I used to get really triggered by judgmental people. I was so judgmental toward judgmental people. How hilarious is that, right? I got super triggered when people would judge other people, which once I realized, oh my gosh, I am judging the judgmental people, it really allowed me to accept and acknowledge that within myself, so that when I see others, I just recognize another human experience rather than feeling the need to judge it. Does that make sense? So that's just kind of one example. Another example for me is when I was really struggling with body image and eating disorders, I was always judging other people's bodies. I was so critical of other people in my mind. I never said it out loud, but in my mind, I was always judging people's bodies because I was judging my own. Now that I have this beautiful unconditional self-love for my own body, I don't even notice other people's bodies anymore. I look at their faces and their souls and their hearts, right? So that's just another example of everything that we don't love, accept, and honor, acknowledge within ourselves, we're going to project that to the outside world and onto other people in some way or another. So using that tool of just like me, and even when we feel triggered, right? If someone says something to us that kind of triggers us or aggravates us, it's touching on something, a soft spot somewhere. So just using these as opportunities to grow and learn, triggers, anytime we feel aggravated, agitated, anytime we judge someone else, using that as an opportunity to learn something about ourselves, right? So that is when I talk about choice, is we have a choice when we judge, when we get triggered, to meet that experience with love and forgiveness and a learning opportunity, or to meet it with anxiety and anger and resentment, right? We can raise the vibration, meet it with love, recognize our own humanness in another person, or we can lower the whole vibration of the entire experience. And that is our choice every single time, all throughout the day. So that brings me to the next point, which is forgiveness. And I have talked about forgiveness throughout this entire series, so I'm not going to spend too much time with that. But forgiveness is the same thing with self-love. The more that we can forgive ourselves, the more grace that we can give ourselves, the more we're going to be able to extend that to others, right? So anytime that we can't forgive ourselves for something, or we judge it as wrong or bad within ourselves, we're going to do that to other people as well. So just remembering that forgiveness and grace has to start with us so that we can offer that to others. Now, finally, last and certainly not least, how can we leave a legacy of love? So what do you want your legacy to be? That's what I want to ask you. How do you want to be remembered by your time here on this earth? How do you want people to speak of you? How do you want people to remember you? Are you bringing love? Are you raising the vibration? Are you meeting each opportunity as a teacher and not with judgment? So how do you want to live in this world? What do you want your imprint, your footprint to be when you leave this planet? Ask yourself that every day, all day, and especially especially in this moment and as we're talking about self-love. Because I will say over and over again, it always comes back to self-love. The more that we explore ourselves, love ourselves, accept ourselves, the more that we can do that to the world around us, our families, our friends, our partners, co-workers, communities, strangers, everyone. It all starts with us, and that is this journey, is how can we more deeply, fully love ourselves so that we can bring that to the world. This week is amazing. I wish you a beautiful week. I'm here with you. I love you. Let's kick butt this week. I'll check in with you again next week, but this is the last week. Don't give up now. You got this, okay? Love you so much. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you next week.